Welcome, Best Job Ever, my podcast, because every CEO has a story. And I'm Dr. Jayne Gardner. I'm a performance coach for CEOs. And I have a visitor today, a CEO, Justin Burkhaulter. I think I said that right.
You got it right.
And are you a CEO or CFO? I saw both on your website.
I'm running both roles right now.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And today I've done podcasts where I'm interviewing some of the people that I've coached. However, today I've never coached you.
You have not directly.
Well, let's tell that story first.
Yes. So I was coached by a young lady in your team.
Yes.
Jennifer Polk, who is fantastic. I've known her for many, many years through another friend of ours at the Vested Group, Joel Patterson. And she came to me with the opportunity to take on this challenge of your new program and jumped right in. And it's just been fantastic.
I love it. Jennifer is going to be my legacy. Like we were talking about retiring before the call, and I don't know if I ever want to retire, but she's going to be around a lot longer than I am. So I'm so proud of her.
Yes.
She is such a dynamic coach. And I knew she was. I kind of plucked her out of the Vested to be a coach. And then I trained her how to use my course, High Performance Breakthrough. And tell us that story of how that came to be in your company.
Well, we found a time that we were in a space of mentorship. We had finished a mentorship with one individual who focused on to build out Bandera networks into a larger brand and more team and help us set the structure and tone for our culture and things like that. And we found that we needed the next step. Okay. And Jennifer, I think, through the grace of God, came to us and promoted this program to us.
Because you really didn't know anything about the program.
I'd never heard about it at all. I was, we were looking for another mentor of some form to take us to that next level. And we believe that you have to gain knowledge from outsources of yourself. You won't be able to do this on yourself or by yourself. And when she promoted it, it wasn't what I was looking for at the time, I will be honest.
People always tell me that.
It's the best decision we made. Absolutely the best decision we made.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Really, really satisfied with the results, not only myself, from what I obtained from it, and our leadership team, and now moving into phase 2 and phase 3 of our main staff and how they're reaping the rewards personally and professionally from it.
That's good to know. Backtrack a little bit, and tell us about Bandera Network, your company, how it started and that story.
Sure. So Bandera Networks, we started back in 2014. My personal background's a little bit of always in the audio, video, and IT industry, technology as well. Started as a guy pulling cable, was very, very first rung of the ladder, if you would, and kind of worked my way up through the ranks there. 2014, got the courage to step out on my own and build a brand if I could. It was just me in a truck. I call it a brand, but it was me in a truck. Go out and sell it, and tomorrow I'll be back to install it.
What did you haul around in that truck? Was it literally AV material?
Yeah, I had wire, network, and access points. We built Bandera Networks on the concept of bringing quality IT infrastructure into the residential home.
Okay.
The way technology was moving in, streaming TV services, movies, and all those, everything was getting connected through the internet, but there wasn't a provider personally to the residential client that could get that quality systems that you might have in a larger corporation, but the need was there from the demand of the products, right? So that's really where that business started. Was totally solo for about 4 years. Till about 2018, and found my first individual where we merged our two businesses. He had a good client base, I had a good client base, a little bit different, but in the same realm here in Dallas, and we brought those resources together and really built it from there. Pandemic hits in 2020, and we're about 4 people strong. We are still working out of my house. We have no office space at that time. And then we got an opportunity to take technology that we do on the residential side and go commercial in multifamily and prop tech.
So you mean like apartments?
Yes, so apartments. Okay. So we were able to work with a couple of software providers that had the software and the hardware. They just didn't have the technology in the field, the boots on the ground to implement it.
Nice.
And we
Good combination.
really took that and ran with it. They saw the quality of our knowledge. We went from 4 people in 2020 to here at 2024 sitting right around 75 full-time employees.
That's unbelievable.
It's been a ride.
Justin, tell us how you did it. I mean, that's what every audience member is thinking is, how did you grow that fast? And hold on to yourself, you know?
Good people. That's the number one thing. Finding mentors that could help me learn what was the process, what might be those challenging areas that I did not see. One would be culture. I always thought that was just something that happened.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's very much not. And relying on quality people that are truthful with you to help you and your company, not me, the company, what they're a part of, get to these future goals and what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
And learning to myself along the way to be communicative, be open, be direct, and be defining in those things, and that everybody understands where Bandera is going together and how we get there in the path, and then put their input in.
Well, I guess I'm interested in what lessons you learned along the way. I bet there were some times when, you're sitting here and you make it sound so easy. I did this in the past. Tell me some of the hard things you hit that you had to really stop and figure out, okay, wait, how do I do this?
Oh, what does it? Ooh. The best challenge along the way. I think hiring right was one of the things, and the process to finding the right team members, not just the qualifications, but who met our culture is a key there.
Yes, I've heard that before.
Everybody has a different feeling of how they believe and who they want to work for and what they're passionate about. And, we made some key mistakes along the way for sure.
It's hard to judge that in an interview.
You get it over time. I mean, it's not easy. But then also accepting if you made a mistake in that, just accept it, call it out, have a conversation with the person about it, and move forward, whether that's on a positive or a negative note. That's, I think, the best and hardest thing I had to learn was being more decisive, going with my gut, and not letting fear restrict me from those things.
You're always scared to let people go, I think.
You are.
You don't want to.
No, because you have a gap to fill, and they can be a totally 100% wonderful person. But if the performance isn't there for your company, or they're not meeting the core values, or they're a problem in the company, you just gotta move on.
Well, so many times I've coached CEOs, and there'll be that problem person in the company, but yet he or she may be a top seller or maybe a big producer in several different ways. And I found that that's really hard for a CEO. They have to really work through a lot because, you think of your bottom line first. That's pretty well what you have to do. We're here to earn money. So to knock someone out based on culture. But have you ever found that it works, that it's needed to do that?
Absolutely. It's unfortunate, but the removal of that individual from the company has always showed a rebound in the team after that.
I've seen that too.
Because it does drag people down. It really can. And it's not a bad thing to say that they're unhappy. They're unhappy here, and they may not want to move either. It's a challenging bottom line question for them too, which is why they don't quit.
That's true.
Right? And so just being the one to say, this is not a fit for either of us. I'm not mad at you. This is the facts. Let's just agree.
That directness you talked about.
That's it.
Just
hey, you're unhappy. I'm unhappy. Why is this? And being able to say that in a non-confrontational or aggressive manner and just being honest with yourself, I think, that I'm unhappy as a employer. I think you're unhappy. You tell me. And just go from there.
And talk about
it. And that usually starts it out. So
Jennifer told me, I don't know if I've ever said this to you, is we met just this morning and we were talking, but I don't think I told you. Jennifer told me the secret to hiring somebody in the initial conversation was to ask that person, do you have a growth mindset? Have you ever heard that?
Yes, I love that.
I bet she's told
That is
you.
one of my favorite books, Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck.
Oh, yes.
I can tell you just personally, reading that and having growth mindset of people, especially when you're early on in this. I mean, we looked at ourselves in 2020 to now as a startup.
Sure.
It's a totally different division of our company. We had not done a lot in the commercial space. We knew technology. That was good. We knew how to put it in. I had never had more employees under me than 5. Even at any other company I worked for, I had never had this type of budget
That's a huge
to work
change.
with and so forth.
Yeah.
And then to take on those titles. So when I read Growth Mindset and having that internal, I knew that was where I was, but that's how I started to pinpoint the ones that didn't. And
Isn't that remarkable when you figure that out?
you almost see it night and day, and you start hearing it in conversations.
Yes.
You hear it in their tone, you hear it in their dialect. One thing I really do constantly at Bandera is the word can't is not in our vocabulary. If I say it, you will immediately hear me correct it.
Point.
If somebody else says it, I'll say, please, let's pick a different word. There's nothing we can't do. Maybe we shouldn't do it. Maybe we don't want to do it.
You've got that unlimited mindset.
Unlimited mindset. You have to, because that's what starts limits the growth mindset.
Well, and it's what started the idea of this company in the first place, wasn't it?
It was.
You see a need somewhere and you think, I can do that. Anyone can do that.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, tell me a little bit about how high performance breakthrough impacted your company, what it was like for you, and let's talk that story for a bit.
High performance breakthrough has been a game changer, I would say. As I said, we weren't expecting it, but once we got into it, the benefits and the reasoning behind it, and what we may not have seen the back end of it, of what we were going to come out of this, and there was some positive fear, I think, from that and being accepting. But in the company, we've started to see much more collaboration, much more hard conversations that are honest and true and not confrontational as you would traditionally say. But we have something to talk about, let's talk about it. Or, hey, what you just said, I took it this way. Is that the way you meant it? Because it hurt my feelings. Or a better one is maybe after the fact, people have had a hard conversation, maybe it was a little uncomfortable, and they have time to process, and they come back and go, man, that was my conditioned self.
It's tell me about Controlling Carl.
Controlling Carl.
This is such a great story.
So Controlling Carl is my conditioned self. Controlling Carl, I found out, came from my upbringing as an individual. A lot of strict family life from just natural from growing up in the 80s and 90s.
Sure.
Strong family, loving family, very faith-based family, but strict. And with doing that, I was being controlled, right, or directed all the time. Not the type of mentality that I am, per se. I'm pretty much a free rein, right? But
all entrepreneurs, right? You have to
I don't like to be held back. The sky's the limit. And then that conditioned me to start to control the narrative of how to get to those accomplishments, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Not being honest with myself. I started to wear a little bit of a mask to my friends, even at a young age, of trying to impress them or try to be accepted, which created a lot of insecurities and self-confidence problems. And knowing now, after going through the high performance breakthrough, is that was a condition I built to get through
kind of
those
protection.
scenarios. And a little bit of protection, a little bit of accomplishment in a way, right? But I wasn't happy. In 2010, I realized I was not happy. And I know we're 14 years later, but it was one of those things of I had worked on myself to address the self-confidence issues and the honesty issues. I was still immature in my 20s. But then coming into this program, I got to address the why. What caused it? Why? Unpack it of why, and call out Controlling Carl, who is the person that controls things.
Well, you know, Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, once said, he was quoted as saying, every CEO needs a coach. And he said, because of what you can't see in yourself, and maybe what you don't want to see. And so how did high performance breakthrough help you see that blind side? Because you're talking about a mask, something that you probably didn't realize you were putting on, so to speak. Or doing.
Yeah, with controlling Carl, he takes over and subconsciously takes back the reins and takes back the control from the employees or the team members, right? I've given you this task. I want you to go do this task. I feel like I've delegated this task, but I'm still so in control and can't let go that I'm really not letting you do the task. I'm either guiding you through the task or constantly on you with the task.
That was your kind of your modus operandi, huh?
Yeah. And well, I'm a nice guy, and everybody would probably say he's great, he's nice, great. I hope they all say I'm a nice and great employer. They would, there wasn't that freedom of creation because, and then on top of that, people just started coming to me for all the answers.
You had to on your table, I bet, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, if you know the answer.
And now that I know where controlling Carl is, and even my personal life, it's helped so immensely. This program helped me not only professionally,
Tell me
but
about
personally. Controlling Carl tries to control my kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and from a protective dad, don't jump off that. Don't go too crazy.
I identify with that totally.
I see 9 steps forward by controlling Carl because he's being predictive of everything, which also creates anxiety at times. And then just wait, just let them be them. It recognizing that controlling Carl's coming into the play, and I can say, whoop, that's not who I am. This is an anxiety thing. Set it back. What's the worst thing? Talking myself through with my own mantras of what's the worst thing that could happen. You can overcome the outcome. That's one of my big ones is coming out of this is I can overcome the outcome.
I love it.
So if the outcome is not with the way I predicted it, which is going to be every day, I don't have a crystal ball.
Yes.
I'm still confident in myself to overcome it, to make a pivot, to make a shift, to make a decision that we have to go this way, whether it be personal or business. And that's been a game changer for me as a leader is now I do delegate and let it go.
Let it go, or know that you can change the outcome.
I think I told you I sit in the chair and I shut up.
Yeah, you had some saying. What did you say? Sit there and don't talk.
I think it's sit there and shut up, but sit there, be quiet, and patient in that, because let the team do what you have them empowered to do, and bring the ideas, bring the energy that they're there for. They're creative. They're great minds. They do great work, and once that happened, and then we even put them through some of the program, the high performance breakthrough. And then now our team is able to have these personal conversations on one level that we've been through things. We don't have to tell each other what we unpacked.
Yeah. But still, just that sharing of this happened to me.
This happened to me. And everybody's got in their names. They can recognize, I'm sorry, my conditioned self was in a moment there, and I apologize for that. And can we have that conversation again? Let's look at that again. And they'll even tell me, you're trying to take this from me.
Oh, when you allow that, that's
absolutely. I love it.
Woo.
Tell me when I'm wrong. I'm not right all the time. That's why everybody else is here.
You realize that goes against everybody's image of a CEO. I'm glad you're changing it.
Yeah, I tried to. I mean, every CEO has a team. I mean, if you're not CEO by being a self-employed person.
Good point.
I learned that, and I'm still a part of the team. I have a workload as well. And by empowering them, I'm able to focus on fostering those next steps, those next processes.
Yes.
I'm still a creative mindset of.
You're empowering your people is what you do.
Yeah, I try to. I want to. That's the key. And that's where the high performance breakthrough made me look as a leader that my conditioned self was restricting not only what I was doing and taking time away from what I could do, but also affecting my personal life, right, with the kids and possibly even who knows at different times that nobody's telling me these things, right? Uncomfortable to do. If you are the CEO, it is uncomfortable for people to. You tell them all the time, well, just tell me if I'm upset you.
Yeah,
they don't do it.
Yeah, right. No way.
As much as we want it. And then, sometimes as CEO, you are on an island, and that's fair.
Yes, that's why you need a coach.
Yeah.
To have somebody to talk to. Well, one thing I wanted you to talk about, because I've changed after 20 years of coaching CEOs. I used to kind of have that stereotypical idea that they were very narcissistic and focused on money and all that, which you have to be. And some, I'm not saying don't.
You should be.
You have to be.
You have the characters.
But that you put that before everything. And I've realized how caring the CEOs that I work with are. And that's a word that I think isn't always used with a CEO, an entrepreneur. And so you told me this morning when we were talking that the high performance breakthrough gave your people the sense that they were cared for.
It has. I believe so. I know so because they've told me.
That's interesting.
People always, they want training. People want training and education. When they come into your business, I want to learn more. They want growth. They're leaving the company they're at for a better opportunity and more talent opportunities to elevate themselves, right?
Sure.
And so
that's the person you want.
That's the person you want, right?
Yeah.
When we brought this to them, and my two partners in leadership did the course first, and we wanted to make sure that what it was before we just offer to everybody else.
It's a different course. I insist that you do that.
And it was challenging for all three of us in three different ways, and we all had three different personalities too, but came out of it with just everybody's doing this, and then not everybody, but we're offering it.
There you go.
This is a volunteer program because it is personal.
It is. You can't force this on someone that doesn't want it.
On phase 2, we had 6 of the probably, I think we have roughly 10 to 12 additional people in the office, the primary office staff that volunteered for it. More than what we had budgeted.
So it kind of that's I hope it picked up some energy as more and more people took
it. Absolutely did, because then they were talking about it amongst their peers, and it didn't ever feel like us pushing about or just talking about Jay. Now they're talking, have the side conversations like, oh man, dialogue 3. Whew, you got there? Yeah, I'm there. And then and then the retreat and all those wonderful things that come out of that. And I've had a couple of team reviews, individual peer reviews since then, and every one of them has said, thank you for offering this. This is so different that you care about us and my personal and how I interact with people, and not just what else, how much more percentage of work can you get out of me? What's my performance? What's my metrics I missed? Did I meet them, or what are my goals? And it's like, no, you just want me to be happy. It's nothing that a high performance breakthrough is not about business development, right?
Well, I want to have a little segue here to talk about Joel Patterson, because I know he motivated you, as he did me, by sponsoring me to put High Performance Breakthrough in the Vested, an ERP company in Plano. And so we started there. And I remember at the point we started, Joel said, I don't care whether it's going to make me money right now. I just want to help people because I took it. I think they'll benefit. And I kind of went, oh, what does that mean to me being paid? It's like, oh dear, But he, showed me a budget, and we stayed in it. But then he started to tell me after the first year, he called me in one day and he said, I want you to look at our numbers, because performance had skyrocketed as his bottom line did. So we were surprised, though. We hadn't put together that when people feel cared and motivated, that they can be involved in something. And you had told me this morning that your people now must feel like they're in more of a community, or that they come to work so they can make a difference for Bandera, as you.
Truly, yeah. They are a part of us, and we're on this journey together to create Bandera Networks as the leading IoT and smart apartment integration company in Texas and beyond. And their efforts contribute to that, especially as we grow into our next phase, adding more employees and more another branch. That energy has to come from more people than me. And it is so refreshing that it is great to not have to be a part of every conversation. From a CEO position in just daily life, they are doing it together. They're having these conflict and design questions, whether it be positive, negative, whatever it is. Hey, how are we going to do this? I see this as a problem in what we're using here. What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do?
So they're not afraid to conflict.
They're not afraid to conflict a little, because they understand that conflict is not the traditional conflict. That if I'm not emotionally upset, and I'm realizing that it's my emotions that make me upset and not the work, right? And if it is, we can talk about it.
But you're not triggered quite as much.
Not triggered as much, and you can feel yourself rolling into that position sometimes if you are, because it does come back. I mean,
it's always there.
Carl's always back there,
just ready to go.
Yeah, and I try to replace him with relaxed Ricky. It doesn't happen always.
I didn't know your true self.
Yeah, I labeled him too. So, but it's been fantastic how they do feel that this benefit we offered as a true benefit, and the monetary side, even for us, is kind of. While we were always budget for it and be careful with it, because it is a wonderful investment. The outpouring of appreciation that we got as leaders, and now the resurgence of everybody's like, I'm next. Can I be next? Who's next? And then we're pretty much even to spouses. Think about that.
You're kidding.
So our employees, some of our team members have gone through it, have talked about it so well, and are so happy with the result, have went to us and asked, how can we get our spouses to go through this? So we made a program that would help them financially assist to get that.
Oh, I love it.
And because what's better than that than both people at home communicating well, and then you're communicating with your peers at work.
And you and I talked this morning, you can't be upset at home and not have it impact your performance. So there's really no way to separate out your personal life from your professional life. It's you. It's all you both ways.
Right.
So we do find that we've done some studies and some numbers on what happens to people when they go through the process. And the first thing is they become less reactive emotionally, which you were talking about. And also they become more confident. And you mentioned that this morning, that you felt a sense of confidence. Tell me more what that feels like.
My confidence came from the trust of others. I've always been very confident myself, but I lacked, as a controlling side, I lacked true confidence in other individuals.
Sure.
And so making sure that I was able to trust them, because I could let go of Carl and not control the situation.
Sure.
I put you in all those things, put you in this position to do what you said you're going to do. I'm going to now set the metrics, and we'll have good standards for why you're going and how you're going to accomplish it. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to go do what I'm responsible for. And it's been magical for me. And my stress level has been way less because of that.
You said something that was a key finding we had in the research. You said, though, before I told you about the research, that there was less drama.
Truly, because they are able to talk to each other. I really see that
instead of knocking on
my door and coming to me for every little thing, or we call it cheerleading sometimes. So they're just, hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that?
Need a little pat on the back.
Little pat on the back. It's like, no, they know that what they have to do is on them, and if they have a conflict, they start. And we even set up the structure. We changed our SOPs, if you would, around communication and. If somebody's not performing that's affecting your performance, here's how you communicate about it. You send them an email. You start with, what are you comfortable with? And we're going to layer into the next step of your program, I know, which is going to help us with norms. And that's going to be phenomenal to, again, further that communication, I think, to give more safe space to the conflict of what it is. Because let's face it, I'm going to say something, somebody's going to say something that might offend somebody every now and then. It's what it is. And we need to have a structure to how that feels comfortable.
Well, and Joel has said this 2 years out from starting that culture, that he now has an employee-based and employee-run company.
Right.
Which I think when I've coached CEOs through the years, they always tell me what I'm going for is me being able to do my thing and do what I need to do instead of having to still help run the company. And it kind of runs itself now.
Very much. I mean, I can say I just went on vacation, thank God. And
see, there you go.
Had a great one. And I felt more trustworthy of everybody. They had to tell me a few times to get off my email, but hey, that's still got look.
That's your heart.
But I came back to a world that was not an inundated challenge of problem solving. Everything was handled. It was an update, but hey, that's an update. It was back to my business as usual to a degree. And just I think they know that they now have the confidence in themselves even, like you're talking about my trust and confidence going up. I think they realize they are
that makes a difference.
Quality individuals that are appreciated here, and they feel in control and that they're contributing, because also I'm not controlling.
Absolutely.
So it's been great.
You've let go. Yeah. Well, I've really appreciated, I think that COVID kind of did this, but also the younger generation is teaching us that when they come to work, I really believe many of them want to make a difference as well as make a living. It has to be both. But you're kind of indicating that they believe they're making a difference when they walk in your door.
I think they do. It sounds to me that with our team, giving them the real platform to communicate and also the freedom to make mistakes has been a big one, because I had a great peer review with one of our teammates yesterday, and he was like, I just moved him into a new role. He'd never done this role before, never had this kind of responsibility before. He told us, dude, 90 days ago, I was shaking in my boots. I didn't, because you told me it's okay if we get to after 90 days and you're not happy or we're not happy, and you'll still be here, right? We'll just move back to a different plan B. He was like, I thought I was going to, if I didn't make this, that means that you're not going to be happy with me. And I was like, no, it's okay if you're not.
That's how you learn.
And we're not. That freedom, him knowing that we trusted that mistakes are okay, and this is not to go 100% day one, and those types of things, I think, gave him the confidence to take that role over. And he's been one of the most 90-day transformations of somebody that was doing a great job, a good job, to somebody that went to a new role and changed that role to the better with his implementations and template. I mean, it's been amazing what he has brought in. And I think, and we had another new hire that was brand new to us, came from another company, and he came in right when we were starting the breakthrough program.
He probably was saying, what in the world
like, this is a little weird.
Yeah, a little weird is what I get a lot.
But he even, and I had his, he just passed 90 days after being in the company, and he goes, I have never been anywhere that cared for me. And I was like,
did that just make you?
Yes,
yeah,
it's emotional, because that's what I want. I mean, that's the true thing. I care about the bottom line. We are here to have a business that provides a product and a service and gets paid for it, because we want everybody else to get paid. I like writing paychecks. It's my favorite day.
That's why you're here.
And it's just but when they're happy and they want to be there, you asked, how much remote, if everybody's still remote. And I was like, we never really 100% were, but we have a flex. But most people want to be here. They want to come in,
Well, the title, you're right back to the title of the podcast, Best Job Ever. And that story comes from what Joel told me. And I bet he told you the same story, that he wishes, his dream is that at the end of anyone's life that worked for him, they will look back and tell their grandchildren, when they ask you, where's the best place you ever worked, granddad or grandma? And he wants them to say the vested, even if it was a short time or a long time. But he really wants best job ever. Yeah. He really wants people to be happy. And what research shows, so much, is that when you're happy, you do better.
You do.
It's logical.
Oh, even for us.
It really is.
Yeah, everybody. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're happy doing it, you'll be engaged.
Oh, yeah.
Be satisfied.
And just have a better life in the long run.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I want to congratulate you. That was just such a, I think that was a courageous thing. When a CEO comes to me and he decides he's going to do this, and it's usually after he's taken it, I always say, you take it first, because it is different and it is very personal. And if they come to me after they finish that and said, I want my people to have it, I'm always so happy to do that. But it is a risk, to invest money in personal growth, because really that's what my course does. It's about developing you to be your best self, not to do your job better necessarily. That's just a result.
Agreed. I think as leaders, we need to focus on the furtherment of the individual as a whole. They're probably not going to be here forever. If they are, fantastic.
Probably not.
But if we can set them on a new career path or a new challenge or a new mindset that takes them to another place, and even maybe they find out through this is not their true passion.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go. Let's do it, man. Go do it. I had one individual that, after taking the course, realized, he goes, I love marathons. And he goes, and I heard, he's back into it. He ran his first marathon a few weeks ago. And it's like, That is amazing.
Come alive as a person.
Because just came alive and realized that his self-doubt or whatever it may have been that he was dealing with was holding him back, and now he's just got back into it, But I think that's the key as leaders is looking at, it's money and it's time to invest in everybody, whether it's training, whether it's criticals or everything else. And you do pour a lot into every employee, and everybody looks at how much it costs to hire a new one versus someone leaving. What's happiness worth? What is best job ever worth? And if we can put a financial number to that, I don't know if we really should, but adding to someone's home, work, family, I mean, that's
really gratifying.
Yeah, that makes me feel good.
Which is really why we're all here, isn't it?
I think so.
Further that purpose that we have in life. So thank you for investing. And I want to say thank you to Joel Patterson and John Mack for sponsoring this podcast, Best Job Ever at the Vested. And thank you, Jennifer Polk. She was one of the first people I'd ever trained in this process. And so to see her join me and want to use this with more companies, I'm just thrilled to death.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer, very much. I mean, we appreciate everything you did for our company. And, you're a staple to our team almost now. And
she becomes kind of a part of the company.
And I continue to have refreshers, at times. I'll be honest. It's a good thing that when there's a journey and it's a different kind of coach. We talked about this morning. The coaches are key, and that we began this. You can't get there alone, and sometimes CEOs you feel like you're on an island. But having that individual that helps you on the mental side, mental health and pushing through what it is maybe, or finding it out, and like you said, talking it out on the outside. It's not counseling, it's not that, it's really the drive of who you are and why you're doing it, and it's amazing.
Like you said, you're moving your company to that next level, and you had really no idea what that level was. You just know you needed that next step.
You're right. I did not know that starting this program, and now there's never been a ceiling, but there's even less of a possible ceiling that could come in because the team now in themselves is not limited. I mean, the limiting beliefs, like you said, growth mindset, the limiting beliefs are not there anymore in themselves, and now they will attach on to this mindset of mine of we can do anything. We really can if we put our hearts to it, and now they're doing it together. It's been fantastic.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the investment and the time and the belief in the process.
Thank you for the program. It's amazing.
I love it. Thank you for just being here, Justin, and talking and sharing. And I wanted to share with our audience that Joel Patterson and I have written a book about Best Job Ever, the book called Best Job Ever. And I'd like to invite you to go on Amazon and get it. It will come out, it's being published, it will come out in September. So I really encourage you, if you'd like to read a story about how his company put this process in and how everyone in his company went through it and their personal lives. We tried to make it just a story so that you could understand, because I think it's a hard concept to grasp, is that a business would help someone develop themselves, their personal life even, for the company. So I'm excited about that. More to come later, maybe at the next podcast. Best Job Ever. Thank you.